Hello everybody and welcome back to Green Gaming Fest 2023. Before we head into our next run, we had a $5 donation by Will the Fox saying, "Thanks for showcasing my Mario vs Donkey Kong run yesterday. Good luck to all runners in this event." And they put those $5 towards the selfish or abandonment ending choice, choosing abandonment for the Lone Fungus run, happening later on in the marathon, putting abandonment now in the lead over selfish. So if you want to go ahead and change that outcome, well, you still have quite a bit of time left to go ahead and change that. Also, do keep in mind that there's an incentive tied to this very Glittermitten growth run here. So if you want to hear Mike play a song with something other than the slide whistle, because that is still winning, go ahead and put your money towards either his voice, the kazoo, or the ocarina. And with that, let's get your glitter ready, pick out your mittens, and let's head into a grove or something. I don't know. Mike,
yeah,
what is this about?
It's a wild one. It starts out, it's a little fairy village simulator game, but if that doesn't pique your interest, just hold out for a couple of minutes. You'll see what... You'll see where it goes. So we didn't have an incentive for the name. I decided to name it Earth Dayville. I think that's part of why Green Gaming Fest was set around this day. You know, plant some trees, celebrate the ecosystem, all that good stuff. So, if we're ready, I am good to go, and I can start the countdown. So I'm gonna do it. 3, 2, 1, go. So right off the bat, I saw a couple of crystals down there. We are going to launch some fireworks. There we go, let me speed this up. We have to gather some crystals so that we can build some prisms, so that we can harvest some sunlight, so we can get more sparkles. Those will let us shoot more fireworks. The fireworks, hang on, I gotta make sure I build a house, otherwise we're just immediately gonna lose. There we are, okay, cool. So, the general goal of Glittermitten Grove is usually to build a thriving fairy village. You get 50 fairies in it. Your little fairy pal Titania chimes in and says, "Hey, you've built a metropolis. All the fairies are happy," stuff like that. But what we're doing is something called all symbols here. And we're going to be going after these little things that are hidden in these caves underground. So to get to the first one, I got to get to about 4.5 of these torch depths. Instead of just building torches over and over, what we can do is we cast light spell. To do that, we got to steal some of the food from the fairies, which is not the nicest thing to do, but, you know, sacrifices in the name of going fast. There we go. So we just kind of keep chaining those together and shooting these fireworks. That firework combination is sort of supposed to shoot horizontally. Usually you'd be spreading out, opening the field of view here, going left and right. But if you just turn that sideways, it just launches into the sky and then falls back down a few seconds later. So I'm going to tell the fairies to stop harvesting some of these resources and make sure that the crystals are not getting blocked from the sun. It looks like they're getting, yeah, we're getting some pretty good, oh, not enough food. There we go. Cool. Yeah, we're getting some pretty good sparkles here. So torch and, yeah, typically you would be building pantries and woodsheds and stuff. If you hit winter, then all the plants die. You have to have a huge stockpile of food, and it's actually surprisingly hard to get into that. But if you lose all your fairies from going hungry, more of them will show up and be like, "Hey, here's some stuff." So you can't actually lose unless you forget to build a house at the start of the game. If you do that, then they're just like, "Well, we got nowhere to sleep." It's 2:30 a.m. for me. I got nowhere to sleep. There's like a door down here. Oh, hey everybody, my name is Mike. I'm doing a speedrun of Text World. Text World is a game based on ZZT, which was an old action-adventure game by Tim Sweeney, creator of Epic Games. Now, I'm collecting this thing called the autocorrect skates. It lets you run into a wall and it'll automatically turn you. But it can be a little bit slippery and hard to maneuver. Now, we're getting some bad positioning on these gorillas. These little club symbols, those are gorillas. Dang it. Come on. There we go. Dodge them all. And we have to go down here, get this red key. And I entered the top section there. I'm hitting the punch yourself button, which allows you to respawn where you just entered the room. And this guy doesn't want to let us through unless we have a sword. So we got to go up and find a sword so we can get past him. So I think I'm going to go over here and touch this mind stone. Hey everybody, my name is Mike. I'm going to be doing a speedrun of toaster derivatives. Toaster derivatives, it's kind of a mix of Flappy Bird and Cookie Clicker. So you get all these resources, you put them in your toaster, it heats the thing up, and as we all know, a hot toaster will fly higher. And so we just keep on doing that. And eventually, some legally distinct, not based on any existing video game property, pipes will appear for us to fly through. You can't actually collect that antimatter at the bottom. If you hit 1,000, then you hit the top of the screen and you just die. So I guess we'll never know what happens if you put that in. And some of you might be wondering what the heck happened to Earth Dayville, our beloved fairy village, and all of our fairy friends. It's still there. It's still hanging out. We're just kind of underneath it. There's we're in this cave system. There's a bit of backstory. There was a game called Frog Fractions. It was on web browsers. It started off as a game where you're a frog, you're eating bugs, fractions appear. You don't learn any math from it. The fractions don't mean anything. You wind up flying into space. You become the president of Bug Mars. You wind up on trial. There's a whole bunch of weird mini games and stuff. And people liked it, and so they kickstarted a sequel called Frog Fractions 2. The devs promised that they would not announce when or where Frog Fractions 2 was gonna come out. And so there was a meme in the community. Is this Frog Fractions 2? Anytime something popped up, is it Frog Fractions 2? So we'll see a little bit later if that is the case with this game. And there we go. So I did a little bit of a save and quit strat. We've got a few menuing options, and now we're finally showing this guy our sword here. There we go. See? There, we really showed it to him. Wow. So now that we have a sword, we are making our way up to the sewer blimp. As you always have to do when you get a sword, right? So this blimp is based on a bunch of levels from The Legend of Zelda, or screens from it. Except this room's based on another game called... What is it? NetHack? Ah, dang it. I got mauled by a cockroach. Your sword has a hitbox. It sort of doubles your character's width. So you have to maneuver the sword as you get around the room so you can actually, get to places you're trying to go. And the next mini game, now that we're through that whole fake different games bit, is a game called Spaxris. But it's a bit crazy, so we're gonna have to enter our age to prove that we're old enough to play the game. And to do that, we have to answer a bunch of trivia questions from 1895. That was the last time that the trivia questions were updated, unfortunately. But we're through, so we're playing Spaxris, super passive-aggressive xenomorph roommate irritation simulator, where we are roommates with the alien from the Aliens franchise. We don't like him, we're a space marine, we're a jerk, and so we're just gonna kind of mansplain all of his stuff and steal all of his things and just be a huge nuisance so he moves out before the lease renews. And now we're back on the overworld. So, the Kickstarter for Frog Fractions 2, it turned into this huge ARG, this huge thing where people were getting, like, sent to secret websites with secret YouTube playlists, and someone got mailed a crate with, like, Cyrillic writing on it in blacklight. I'll get back to it in a sec. We picked up some grenades, and we gotta dodge these cops here. If we come into their field of view... Oh, wait, hang on. I just splatted one. It's actually a pear. It's not a grenade. I'm sorry. Yes. Okay, we got the good RNG on the movement on this screen. So we are going. And also, Titania's still here. She was chiming in. She was just off getting a sandwich. And next up, we are getting to... Chess Invaders, which is an active time battle chess simulation. It is actually a 2.5-minute auto-scroller. It, you just gotta make sure your king doesn't get taken. It's also advised to have a vertically moving piece on the left side of the board because an item's gonna spawn on that left column, and you want to pick it up as quickly as possible. But since I'm just kind of playing multi-threaded chess here, if we got any notes from a host, that would be a good time for it.
I can certainly do that. I just want to go ahead and remind everybody we are raising money for One Tree Planted. One Tree Planted is a charity focused on reforestation. They plant one tree for every dollar that is donated. They have a 95% rating on Charity Watch. Well, for the look at is at its page, onetreeplanted.org/pages/about-us. And if you want to know more about our marathon happening here, we also have some prizes for you to win. And the great thing is that all these prizes get you in the running with a single donation of $5. So you can win a lot of different games like Minute, The Messenger, which you saw earlier in the marathon, Terra Nil, Inscription, Death Store, Broforce, Hotline Miami 1, or Disc Room. Again, you are in the running for all these prizes with a donation of totaling $5. It doesn't have to be in a single donation, it can be over multiple donations. And that is 5 trees planted, as I just explained. So do go ahead and get those donations, and also be reminded to put those donations towards an incentive, like we have for this one, where we can make Mike play a song on different instruments. The slide whistle is still in the lead, but if you want to see that kazoo, go ahead and get those donations in, so we can see that a little bit later in this run.
It's coming up pretty quick, actually. So maybe a couple of minutes after this minigame ends, we're gonna have to call time on that one. We can spawn in extra pieces once we've collected them from the enemy team, which is similar. People assume that that's the rule in chess, is that you have to capture a piece from the opponent in order to play it. I don't think that is technically the rule. I believe official games of chess have like an extra couple of queens in case someone promotes pawns, gets them to the end, and changes them. In this game, if you promote a pawn by getting it to the far end, you can place more of a piece. We don't get any ones that are useful to us until the very end. But now we've got the bridge from the Atari game Adventure, so we're placing it down, similar to how it works in that game. We got to get a purple key, so we're going to the key gen. We are generating some keys, hearing some sweet chip tunes, and we are doing a little bit of some save and quit strats. Now I'm going to gather another one of these symbols. So these are the actual symbols that I was talking about. You see them in the corner there. They're scattered all around the map. The first one you see is yellow. The second one that I collect is going to be like a purplish pink. And when you collect the pink one, it plays what's called a corn story, and you will hear one of those as we get further along. On this next screen, I've got to gather enough gems to max out my wallet. There we go. And on this run here, I think is probably the best time to... we got a few more seconds to lock in the instrument, but it's getting pretty close. It'll be once I enter the top of this cathedral. It would be a good time to cut it off. We need an orange key, so what we do is knock over a bucket of paint, fall into it, it paints us and all of our keys orange. So now we're in that cathedral. Where do we land? Are we still on slide whistle? Host?
Sorry, I had still muted myself, but yes, the slide whistle is still in the lead. People really want to see that, so, well, there you go.
Well, there we go. All right, so we're doing, okay, cool, that's that mic, and we are ready for some slide whistling. Okay, there we go. So that was the incentive, was barber pole position, the instrument with which I matched the lines on the barbershop pole to make the car go. There we are. So we are back out. We are gathering more of the symbols. That's a very fun one. When you do it with the kazoo, it sounds a little bit like an engine. It's going to be obnoxious no matter what you do. That game has a 4-player mode. I've never seen anyone attempt it. I would very much like to one day. So the next game we're getting to is called Loma Manager. Boom, very good. And when I enter this game, I type Absamajata, which is just like a shorthand for assign A to B, assign S to A, J to A. what you do at the start of this game is assign a bunch of player characters for a MOBA, and you're just kind of managing an esports team in this game. I'm not really doing much of anything right now. The goal is to lose as quickly as possible. We timed it out, and actually, let me just check. A, B, C, D, E. Yeah, it's gonna be D. Okay, cool. And the only thing you can do to really make yourself lose any quicker is to assign stuff as quickly as possible and check out which player has the lowest skill level in case one of your players drops out. If their character dies, it doesn't matter. What happens is one of them might Alt F4 or their internet might go down and you have to swap in another player at that time. I've tried strategizing with the highest skill ranks. I was able to win it one time just on a fluke. It really doesn't seem to have that much bearing on how well you do or how long the game actually takes. So going back to that ARG, there were secret sigils hidden in like 24 unrelated indie games for something called the iSigil ARG. And ARG is alternate reality game. I signed the wrong, whoops. Yeah, whatever. Where it's just like secret stuff eeps into the real world, and you got to solve a bunch of puzzles and stuff. And so there was something hidden in the game Firewatch, some image file, and it was called a letter soup. And all these little sigils that were hidden in these other indie games spelled out a word, I think, that turned into a URL or something. And then people eventually found out that that was part of the Frog Fractions 2 ARG. The ARG went on for like a couple of years, I think. And the technical end prize of it was a 3D printable trophy of, like, congrats, this is Frog Fractions 2. But someone got mailed a big red button that said, press this to launch Frog Fractions 2. They pressed it. Big update came for an unassuming game on Steam called Glittermitten Grove. So, with that question raised, is this Frog Fractions 2? We will find that out when we hit the end credits. Now we're doing pretty good here. I'm going to return to text world. All right. So a lot of the enemy types and stuff in this game are based on the ones from that ZZT game I mentioned at the start. I think those little omega symbols are lions, the clubs are gorillas. There are a bunch of O's that are a centipede. And here we're in Bomb Heck, which is where a bunch of bombs randomly spawn on the overworld. Oh, we're getting our first corn story. Hang on a second.
Needing quick cash to pay for a sick new tattoo, Corn PHP ninja Todd Repboggle formed a crack team to rob the Belvedere, Maryland municipal water treatment plant. The team wore baklava on their heads because Todd had read a WikiHow article exhorting it as the most effective way to hide your face.
There we go. Yeah, a lot of the corn story audio clips are going to be cut off because I'm going to be picking up other purple symbols along the way. But they're all pretty fun. They're entertaining little snippets that are all factual and all actually true about the band Korn.
Millions of dollars marketing it as Corn Pop. When informed that a very similar cereal name was already trademarked, marketing inertia only allowed him to change a single letter of the name while retaining brand recognition. He ended up diversifying with a different name in each region. Corn, in American Samoa, performed most poorly. Corn Paps performed best due to the high density of obstetricians in the Czech Republic.
So this is Shaving Story, wherein we shave former US President Barack Obama at important moments in his life, I suppose. There was a 2D version of this game that was part of the ARG. I have yet to do a good job shaving him on this version of it, this 3D one. And it doesn't actually matter how well you do. It takes the same amount of time to beat it. You wind up with, like, there's no score or anything. If you don't foam him up, you wind up with a bunch of little cuts around him. But, you try and do your best. Let's see here. And so the only thing you can really do to speed things up with this game is to just mash spacebar and click and enter when the story beats pop up. That's one of my better ones. Oh boy. And so because this game is also basically a 5.5 minute auto scroller, I have a very special guest in honor of Green Gaming Fest and in honor of Earth Day. My substitute runner, a real-life plant, will now be playing the game. I can't duck out of frame enough. I'm still like in the corner. Oh boy. I'm still just showing up there. Creep up behind it. If the host wants to say anything, you can go for it.
I kinda want to, but I also just kinda want to enjoy this very moment right now and just let it pass over in silence. I don't know. I'm really torn on this decision, but I can remind you guys that we are still collecting money for One Tree Planted. One Tree Planted is a charity focused on reforestation. They plant one tree for every $1 that is donated. They have a 95% rating on Charity Watch. For more info to look at, is at its page, onetreeplanted.org/pages/about-us. And I mean, a plant is, well, a tree is kind of a plant, right? So I guess they're just very topical that we have this plant playing this speedrun right now. Honorary member.
There was a snake too.
Oh my god.
Good stuff.
This is a very intense speedrun, everybody.
You know, the one thing I wasn't supposed to mess up was hitting the, was progressing the dialogue, and I actually completely flaked on it for like 20 seconds there. I am a... Well, okay, now I'm gonna at least shave this bomb.
The plant has failed us.
Plant, come on, we practiced this. Snake, I got snake 1 and snake 2. This plant is called a snake plant. It's good for oxygen.
If you don't mind me asking, why does the bomb have a beard?
Maybe that's how it snuck onto the presidential tour bus? I don't know.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
I think that segment is actually just a parody of Trauma Center, where, hey, you're a surgeon, but also then there's an arc where you have to do surgery on a bomb to defuse it. So, actually, screw it, I'm just getting some water. I can hear the stream still, though.
Yeah, this is a very intense gameplay, everybody. I mean, high skill on display right here. In the meantime, let me just remind you guys that we do have another donation incentive coming up for our Pokemon Let's Go run, where you can actually choose which version of the game is going to be played. Is it going to be Eevee? Is it going to be Pikachu? They are still tight in the donations right now, so if you want to go ahead and do the tiebreaker, a single $1 would do the trick at the moment. You can go ahead and do that. Just remember to put your money to the incentive if you go ahead and donate.
How's Snakey doing?
I think he's doing pretty well. I mean, those beards are getting shaved, kinda, which I guess progresses the game, right? To be honest, I'm not even sure what I'm looking at anymore at this point.
Okay, this Snakey! You clipped alopecia into his face. What is going on? All right, hang on. We're okay. You're retired. All right, there we go. So, just a mess. All right, can I do it? Can I salvage this? Can I at least clear this out of it. Well, look at this. Got ran over by a car. All right. Probably that guy playing the slide whistle to make your car go. Enough of that.
sounded a slightly bit like the Batman song, I think.
It was supposed to be Flight of the Bumblebee, but yeah, there's a little bit of that too. So, we're finally out of Shaving Story. So when you beat this game, there's supposed to be like an alarm clock thing that activates, and when the alarm hits, it is supposed to reset you back to this starting screen. By the way, this is the frog room. This frog is the titular frog from Frog Fractions, and it is actually the reason why we are collecting these symbols. The symbols are actually words in the frog's language, and so we have to become friends with a frog at the end of this game, which is sort of what we all always want, right? You know, that should be the goal of any good game, is to become friends with a frog.
All 4 members of Korn turned 35 in the early 2000s,
There we
and
go.
all 4
So-
decided to run for president in the 2004 election cycle. They were disqualified
for
when
this
they
Korn
get
story to
together on
finish.
the Rush Hour Rodeo and renounced their U.S. citizenship to declare fealty to New Metal Planet 1013 FM as a publicity stunt.
Yeah, so when you spawn out of Shaving Story, there is an alarm clock set. It'll reset you to that starting room. And so what we do is
In 1992,
we
Korn
switch the
veterinarian
time
Tom
from
Conway
PM to AM, which then rolls back over to PM. And this next game opens up at exactly 12:30, which we have timed pretty well. And it is Spax vs. New Game Plus, where now we are roommates with a Slender Man. His name is Dave, I believe? Yeah. And so what we do is, you know, any bad roommate does is just kind of talk in front of the TV while he's watching it, drizzle ketchup all over the TV, try to play his guitar while he's not in his room, drizzle ketchup on his bed, on his computer, play his guitar in front of him when he doesn't want you to, make fun of his kombucha kit that he's brewing. Okay, I guess I can't do that, so I'm gonna creep around on his bed. And this game, the glitchy visuals, if he's teleporting like when the game ends, the glitches do not go away, and so we have to be very careful with our timing to make sure that we, there we go, yeah, that we make sure that all those artifacts are gone before we exit the game. So now we're in sort of the final cleanup section. We are through all of the core mini games.
Saxophonist Oral Fixation, Robert,
We're not through all of the
decided
core
it was time to
stories.
fold
Except most of them are going to
During
get
an
cut off
online
because we're just kind of
research
rapid
session,
fire collecting the
Korn
remaining
backup
symbols.
dancer Ariel Helvetica insisted
I love the names of these characters though. You got
of
Ariel
Korn's
Helvetica,
single
that's just 2
Jungle Bells.
fonts.
Rolling Stone reviewer Sergio Van Lukenstein thought especially highly of the B-side,
There's
Falling
even-
Water, writing that including an entire house with the album is of great pragmatic as well as artistic value to the listener.
There we go.
Korn's VP of Marketing, Flip Flapp, decided to debut Korn's new single by hijacking the transatlantic MIDI cable and broadcasting the song on all 16 channels, even Emergency Channel 9, which is reserved for heartwarming pick-me-ups like Friday I'm in Love. After Pliff's arrest, Korn...
And so this game has a bunch of other mini games and stuff that I'm not even going to touch on.
Rutherford B. Haploid started dating conjoined twins. Wanting to be equitable, he
So
bought
I'd highly
a
recommend
single
checking it out.
module to figure out how to
It's
pick
been
out
part of a bunch of the or a couple of the like itch.io bundles and stuff, I think. So you might even have it in your library already.
out to run personal errands and not filling
Here
up
we
the
go.
tank.
That.
Googling his own name, Korn bassist Jimothy Johnson. Right before turning 40, Korn sous chef Elsinore Barrier-Reed petitioned Congress to raise
The names and like roles in the band are just getting stupider and stupider.
Korn argued over what to call it.
I think it said bassinet player one time, which I'm assuming was a play on bassoon, but a bassinet is like a crib, like a basket for a baby. Anyway, we are in the final stretch here. We are talking to a frog. We tell the frog, please. Oh, hang on. Did I not throw the fruit? Okay, I gotta throw him a pear.
After opening one of the boxes,
Tell him push the blue crate. Get the blue key. Push the red crate. You have to wait for certain movements to finish before you're able to place these words down. A gorilla shows up. The frog starts freaking out because it doesn't want to get eaten by a gorilla. We tell the frog, okay, give the gorilla the pear. That might satisfy it, and then the gorilla starts going away. It has a slow walking away animation, so while it's doing that, we go get the last symbol from that section. The frog gets an angry phone call from its wife. She's a cat. She doesn't want pears for dinner, so we tell it, okay, eat their pet goldfish for dinner. And then he finally gives us the water symbol. We get the other water symbol. We're hanging out with the frog. And now the final gauntlet is showing up. I'll let you know when time's coming up. It's not for probably another 2 minutes or so.
Corn Master Sergeant John Jacob Christmas owed too much money on taxes, and his accountant
and we're in sort of a final area here, which is a bunch of other alternate overworlds. You saw Cop Heck and Bomb Heck earlier, but you know that screen didn't usually have gravity. It did that time. Some of these screens are typically not covered in darkness. And just a warning for epilepsy, perhaps, there's a lot of weird flickering and flashing in these next few screens, so you know, heads up on that. But,
not believing it, Bjorn convinced Corn Boom operator off Trace Route to bite his other leg to test the hypothesis.
Still
Bjorn
getting a
died
corn
the next
story here.
day because doctors did not have antibiotics powerful enough to treat both infections.
Now, the reason why you would want to collect all of the symbols is because it activates the dev room at the end of the game. So there is sort of an in-universe reason for it. Once you gather all of them, Sewer Blimp is turned into an anagram of Sewer Blimp, which is Limb Spewer, so that's fun. And also when you're the snake, you can honk your horn. And time is coming up in like 3 screens, if we're ready. I hope you're good to go, and time! Sorry if I didn't give quite enough heads up there, but hopefully we're good. So there's our answer. Technically it's Frog Fractions 3. Frog Fractions 2 is considered to be that whole ARG I was talking about before, including the Kickstarter. And this game is considered a part of that Kickstarter. So like this Frog Fractions 3 is a subset of Frog Fractions 2. It's a whole weird situation. I'll give a shout out to mostly Tiger Proof and Twinbeard Games. Those are the companies that put this together. We got a cool, soulful end credits jam. What sort of time? 29:20, pretty solid. Record I think is 28:40 something. So, you know, that's better than most of my practices. I think we're like a few minutes above, you know, ahead of estimate. If we're willing to, there's something fun just at the end of the credits. It won't take up a ton of time as we get through the assistant to the assistant to the assistant to the assistant directors here. These are all the people who backed it on Kickstarter. And they're all listed with one more assistant to the. So it would be, I think, more than a full day if you wanted to wait through all of it. Which I don't think we have time for that necessarily, but we do. Hang on. Let's just wait for part of the chorus to pass. There we go. Yeah. So some fast forward buttons show up, and hang on. Well, we're back at Earth Dayville, so they're still doing good, but now don't adjust your screens. That is the frame rate of the game now. And I can't seem to unfast forward it. I guess you know, there's butterflies flying. I might as well get the shades back on. Year 3. Okay, well, hey, as long as, you know, the fairies are still there, they're still doing good. It's a few years in, I guess, so we must have set something up right by just kind of scorching the earth. I don't know, they're making do. Well, the years seem to be passing faster and faster these days. There's apologies if this is crushing the bit rate, as it might be with this many butterflies. It's pretty intense. Oh wow, we might have more butterflies than there are grains of sand on the beaches of Earth at this point. I'm not sure. Well, what I was gonna show, you know, you could go out to the village and type a bunch of little cheats. There's like a blood code you can activate, but it just makes like the trees shoot blood for some reason. You can activate God mode for the ground, which makes it so you can't dig anymore. I'm sure this'll wrap up soon. Boy, that soundtrack though, huh? There we go. Looks like it's oh. Well, happy Green Gaming Fest. We got a little message from Titania. Oh. Okay, she has some bad news about our trees. I wonder what it is. Well, with that, I think we're good. I think I'm done with my run here.
Well, thank you so much for, well, this, whatever this was, I suppose. I don't know, my mind is still a little bit reeling from taking all of this in. It certainly was an experience, so thank you so much for that, Mike. I guess we all appreciated that, especially that sliding whistle solo that made the truck go fast, and
the frame rate doesn't return until you re-enter the Glittermitten Grove, by the way. It's just like hard limited.
Oh my lord. I think I definitely have to go ahead and check that out and see, you know, what all that is about. You did a good job explaining all of that, but holy hell, this was alright. Anyway, I think I'm not the only one if I say that we might need a couple minutes to recuperate from this. So go ahead, everybody, get up and stretch, grab a drink, grab a blanket if you need it, because there are still more runs coming. Up next, we will have a run of